Hi there guys. So in this video, we'll be taking a look at the new 2024 theme. This is also my very first impression of actually editing the 2024 theme because I wanted to test it out as it was released a few months back. We're gonna take a look at the theme first. So let's take a look at the front end and then we'll slowly take a look at how it was implemented and what are the contributing guidelines, etc. So that if you guys want to contribute as well, you would know what to do. So let's take a look. I have from theme activated. The installation is a pure default WordPress installation with a few things definitely for the the theme development. That is, I think I've been using these 2 or 3 plugins since the very beginning of this WordPress development career of mine. And these two do nothing but give you some further insights on the WordPress admin side of things, such as the query monitor gives you the page load things if there's anything else being loaded, such as additional API calls, hooks, styles, scripts, etc. So I don't think the current state of themes, or at least the core themes, require these much of the plugins, because the default blocks or the core themes nowadays are very bare bones and they try to do everything via the core APIs only. So most of the times everything should be pretty straightforward and you won't be needing to look into these. But just in case, I have this debug plugin activated and set the logs to be enabled, the WP debug log, display, script debug, etc. And the query monitor, as I showed you, just gives you an additional overlay if there's something wrong. Right, so there's one more thing that I think I've added here. That is this constant. There will be development mode constant, and it is recommended as per the GitHub repository of the 2024 theme, and that is why I've added that. So you just need to add that. You can see here it is recommended here. We'll go through this one more time, but just so that you know what my setup looks like right now, taking a look into this. So this is what the front homepage looks like, and thankfully it now comes with a proper homepage. So if you were to have experienced the previous core themes, they didn't used to have this beautifully designed blog homepage, but this one has, and apparently as it was targeted for entrepreneurs and businesses, as the theme is basically targeted for when it was being designed. I think that is why it has these these patterns and basically turn into a complete page for a full-on site experience. So it still has the default sample page because the sample page comes in any default WordPress installation along with the hello world post, the infamous hello world post, and as you can see here, and then there's one comment as well. So I think that's about it. What comes when you first install the 2024 theme, and let's take a look into the editor. Click on the edit side at the top admin bar, and there we have it. The first page you get to see and edit is the blog home, of course. As I told you earlier, it used to be just straight up posts, so which is now been extracted into this part, which is so this is a great way to view all the blocks. At the top, the list view component, it's basically an inspector like tool at the left side of the window, and you'll be able to see whichever block you have currently selected and the parent blocks containing it, so that you'll be easily able to select them and do things or take actions for that block. Because if you have experienced with the block editor, you would see that if this isn't enabled, the list view block, and you'd wanna go to the parent block, it sometimes gets a bit confusing, I'd say, because there's no way you'd know that which block is the parent exact. So there's no way. There's the outline comes, and definitely the list view block is a bit of a say a scope viewer kind of. Yeah, you can see that this block is post template block which you have selected, and then the parent is query loop, and like so forth, right? So as we were talking about, the posts section has been extracted into this separate group, and I think all of these are available as patterns. We were to take a look at let's go back. We can go back, and so by the way, this is the whole site editor, and by no way it means it is a page editor. So you can go back into the page editor like you used to generally would. Like, let's go back to the WP admin, and if you were to go into a separate page such as sample page, let's say, and then click on edit, that is where you are editing the page, a separate page, and this is not the way you would edit the whole site. So this is how you would expect to edit a simple page when you don't want to mess around with the whole site. And yeah, you'd think of it as a pretty simple editor. You would insert blocks and do all sorts of things with that page, whatever you want to add, and the blocks you have at the moment. You would set a featured image, etc. for that page, and then you would hit update. And this is definitely debatable, because by default this full screen mode is enabled, and that sometimes creates a bit of a thing, because I think what earlier you would be used to of was spotlight mode, was it? Yeah, it was this which everyone was earlier used to, because you would easily be able to move around and then do stuff. But by default, full screen mode is enabled, and if you have had any experience recently with the Gutenberg or the block editor, this would be very familiar to you. And you could definitely disable this or keep it, and most times I just like to keep it as is, and you click on this and then you would get back to the previous screen, basically. The experience gets changed when you look into the full site editor, which is available in the appearance and then the editor menu and editor page. And this is where this gives you a sort of like a whole editor experience. So if you have had any experience with Elementor or any such things, you would think of this as the theme builder, sort of. Elementor's theme builder. But I still think it's the Gutenberg's implementation is better compared to the Elementor's messier, a bit more. Though I feel like Elementor's version is a bit more user friendly, and people have been more experienced with it, and have had the chance to grow up as it moved to a bit more mature system, while on the other hand, the Gutenberg experience, it wasn't the same for the actual users who doesn't make or develop WordPress, because most of the times the theme development or the Gutenberg development or block editor development was moved around developers and the people who make WordPress. So they were already familiar with most of the things. I suppose that what made the growth part not very relatable to the end users. And when now they come into it, they haven't been part of the whole experience of how it matured into this. I don't still don't think it has fully developed into the more modern editor-like experience like you would see in Elementor or DB Builder or anything else, but it's going there. So without wasting further time, let's take a look into the full site editing with the 2024 theme. So in the design section, this is what we call now. It's design now, and when you click back, it just takes you back. There's no dev section or something. It's just design, because we have everything design. Anyways, so the first extraction layer is the navigation layer, where you can add, of course, the navigation menus, etc. Okay, so we can see here there's the navigation menu. I'm not sure if this shows the you can basically update the menu, whichever one is selected right now, I suppose. Alright, so this is that one, and we can edit it right away. And you can see here, if we open again the list view, you'll see that this is the header component. So there are still a few things, such as this being highlighted in this separate color is basically a template part. If you were to take a look at templates, then you would see here templates, manage all templates. Okay, let's go back, patterns. Yeah, here it is. So as you can see, it's still a bit confusing sometimes. It gets because things have been moved around in the past few versions. It didn't used to look like this, or even the template parts used to be separate outside this patterns folder, but now it has been moved here and there, and so it's a bit confusing sometimes. Alright, so you'd go into the patterns, and then you look into template parts and see that there's a header component, and then there's a footer component, or as many components has been listed. And by the way, these are the registered default WordPress areas that come by default, basically. And I think general is the uncategorized parts. So there are only 3 default template areas, that is the header, footer, and general. Let's take a look into the code. So this is the 2024 theme, and if we were to take a look into Theme.json, I will see that template parts listed here, and the area, this one. So these areas are registered areas which you can hook into. So it will automatically consider them as header or footer if you have set them as that. And then these parts go in the parts folder in your theme root folder, such as header.html, and then that would have that. So this name would refer to that file. And then title, of course, will respect that and show it as here, header. Let's try to change it into something else. Test, and let's see if it updates right away. It might do something. Yeah, it does. So there's that. Anyways, so as you can see, there's this uncategorized area, because these are the only 2 default registered areas, and then third one being the uncategorized one. You can also register your own separate areas, such as sidebar, which was the infamous area during the classic WordPress theme days. And if you're anyhow have the experience of developing with classic themes, you would definitely want to do that. So I'll be making another video on how to register and develop a full theme around this, and mostly we'll be releasing tips and tricks around these separate parts of developing around WordPress blog themes. So stay tuned. Okay, so these are that. Let's refresh again just so that this is back to normal. And let's go back into the design. So we have that, the header area, and that was also clear up where this comes from. We're going to enable the list view because there's the footer. And you can directly edit them here, or you can always edit by going back to the patterns and header, and then here. And this would give you a fully extracted view of the header. And don't get confused with the spacing around them, because the spacing will be taken effect. Again, this is what makes it a bit confusing for the end users, I think. The spacing will be taken, will take effect from the actual page it gets outputted on. So the template, the template will be the blog home template where it is being outputted. I can see here. So this part and here, I think, yeah. And I think the group block, the blocks also have their own spacing, default spacing. And in the core themes, the most important part to consider is, I think I've seen this in the GitHub repository as well, and in the Figma template as well, as a note to contributors, or as a basically let's say a guideline, and that is to minimize the CSS, external CSS, which used to be a thing in classic themes, that you would add all the style, all the CSS yourself for the theme, and that is what will shape the UI. But with the block editor, you would want to minimize as much CSS as possible and functionality in themes, and then you will basically depend upon the block editor itself. So whatever padding or spacing that is coming from the editor, that will take effect first, and then if you want to customize that, you will basically be doing that in your Theme.json, where you will set these settings basically. So the settings can have such as the content size, and then the spacing scales. So you can see here spacing sizes, etc. Right. So that's how. I also had made another video on how to write your own Theme.jsons and the specs it takes, the spec sheet. So I will mention that YouTube video in the description of this video, so do check that out if you want to. I know it gets a bit boring with my way of explaining this to you, but I'm definitely getting better at this over time, and I hope I'll make better videos and won't be very lengthy. But explaining this takes time, and I guess it becomes a bit long. Anyways, let's move on to the actual theme. So we have the whole blog homepage, and as you can see, we have checked out the post section, which is again a pattern. In the patterns space, you can see here pages, and then posts. If you want to go to post, I'm pretty sure you'll see here that this is the list of posts without images, one column, and this is the exact pattern which is being shown in the blog home template. And as you can see here, just blog home template. We can also take a look at it in the actual 2024 theme, which will be shared somewhere. It's the index.html, and yeah, it's the post 3 column pattern. And okay, so this takes that, and this takes that single.html. Okay, sorry, this is not that. Actually, this is this one, and that is the home.html. Template home business. Let's take a look. The index one is being this. Sorry about that. So the index template is here, which will basically be the header, And then again, this is the markup of the block editor. You can learn it over time. I suppose it just becomes a habit. I still don't know how to write everything in just markup of what block editor outputs. So most times what I do is take a look and get around whatever I know and have experience with. And then you can always export your modified theme via this export button. I recently had a friend of mine ask that she had edited the whole WordPress theme and customized it, but she doesn't know how to export it and give it to someone else. If she wants to sell it or whatever, do whatever with it. So if anyone is looking for something similar, do click on this button. You get the whole theme with the updated templates and styles. You can further customize it with the create theme block. I think it's called create theme plugin or something. And so it's don't remember exactly. Create theme plugin. Is it create block theme? Yeah, it's this plugin. And you can basically customize everything, and you can make 2024 into your own theme. Create a fork of it, basically clone, and name it into something else. Yeah, so you can do that. And this is weird. So yeah, no posts were found. I think I'm seeing no posts were found. Well, let's take a look into. Okay, yeah, this won't take you because we are in the hierarchy. This won't take you to the separate page or template we are editing. So I think this is something of an experience that WordPress blog editor will have to evolve into and try to do things as much as smoothly as possible, because this is a bit thing. I would expect it to take me to the page template I'm editing. I think it could be wrong. I mean, it's a perspective thing, I suppose, but I have seen other builders do that. So yeah. Again, as I have said, this is from this, and post 3 column is the pattern that is being imported here or loose here. Posts. We're to take a look at patterns and post 3 column. Yeah, so post 3 column. Yeah, so since this one, you can see here, no post for found has that, and we can take a look at these patterns here. Post 3 column. Sure. So don't get afraid if you haven't worked with PHP, because this is nothing but an already registered template. Because if you create any PHP file here, it will automatically get registered, at least in the patterns folder in your theme, block theme, with having this pattern header. So the title, the slug of the pattern, and that will include the prefix of the theme slug, and then with the slash the slug for the file name. And then the categories. So that's, I guess this is a bit important. So as you can see here, this is also a block markup, and this can also include nested blocks, and you can easily do this to create patterns instead of going into and creating your own pattern like this. You have to be very experienced with the block markup, etc. to create just like this. And I don't even recommend doing it like this, because you might not be aware what has changed in recent block updates, and that could create errors in blocks and basically in viewing the blocks, and this will turn out to be a nightmare. It can get like that. So the best way to do or create any pattern is, I would say, just get into the editor, get inside the editor and such as, let's just say we are editing anywhere. You could create it in a page, or you could do it in anywhere. And let's just say we come here and we can clone this. If you have some pattern or a block which is already something of a starter for you to customize, you can just get started like that. And after updating it into something else, maybe you would want to say that sorry, that you want to customize the background of it. Let's say you want to do yellow or green, and then you can simply go here and copy it and then paste it directly into block file, pattern file of your own, such as example .php. That's just example.php, and then we'll initiate a PHP and make sure to close it as well. And then we'll do that. Let's copy the header from an existing pattern, and then you call it example pattern 2024. We'll call it example. And I don't think this was a query. So categories, you can look into here. Sorry, we can look into here, and we will let's take a look and then paste. Yeah, so categories can be anything, I suppose, because they're just the let's just call it banner, and then block types. Yeah, this is not a query, of course, so we can take it down. And then if we were to refresh it, I'm sure we'll be able to see that in the patterns. Pattern. Okay, yeah, so you can see here, it is here. We just got a bit confused there for a second, and it's, as you can see here, it's listed your example pattern. So we just gave it the title of example pattern, and as you can see, you can always create your own. So the patterns created in the code, such as having as a static file in the theme root itself, will be shown as locked here. As you can see, you can't directly edit them, but you can after duplicating them. So that's a thing. Just know that. Or you could always create your own pattern. But definitely note that don't directly edit the themes. As per the classic theme, this has been a standard to maybe make that use that create block theme to copy or clone it into your own theme and then edit static files, because else if you don't do that and directly edit in the theme itself, such as 2024, it will get overwritten after an update from 2024. So yeah, do note that. Let's just delete this example pattern we created, and let's take a look at the styles we have. We have these many styles now, and let's take a look at the theme.json again. So as I said again previously, there's a separate video on how to create theme.jsons on my channel, and I'll list that in the video description to so where you can learn how this all works. But for now, just understand that you can have multiple theme.jsons, and those will be listed here in styles. And there's no naming convention to it for the default theme.json, and that will come as default always, whichever one is in the theme root, theme.json. And the ones listed in the styles folder of your theme, those can have the title attribute and will be listed as that. As you can see here, it is Ember, and it has its own separate colors and styles, and that basically changes everything. So I think, yeah, you can see, and it takes effect. So you would also want your blocks to be consistent with that, so that they take effect of that. So being consistent with the slugs and everything is very important. And once you have that done, so the slug, like as you can see here, if you see that gradient 1, gradient 2 and gradient 3, etc., I'm pretty sure this would be very same in Theme.json as well. Let's see, sorry, in styles. So you can see gradient 1, gradient 2, and this is what takes effect in the patterns once you change. And in other style.jsons, whatever you have, it must be in according to that standard, the flow, so that it takes effect consistently. Let's concede here. It's pretty fine. It's doing its job, and yeah. There's still the dark and light mode switcher missing. I suppose it's not a big deal, but I suppose it could be added in the upcoming versions now that we have multiple styles switches. These are basically called style variations, or guess, because earlier there were block variations, and I just think, I'm not 100% sure, and don't quote me on that. They're not gone, block variations, etc. Oh, let me search on that. Block variations. I don't see that anymore, so I suppose. I think, it's still there, but it's waves. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Block variations. Yeah, it's a bit of a thing. So there's a lot of jargon that has been created around the Gutenberg and block editor space, and patterns, template parts, variations. They all have their own space and their jobs for everything, but you can consider them as you can still get away without block variations, without using block variations, and just being with patterns and everything. So yeah, there's that. I think there was one thing which got deprecated. I don't remember per se, but there was one thing I still can't remember. Sorry for that. Let's take a look at the initial design of the theme 2024. I suppose it's been too long, but hey, if you're looking into it, why not take a look into the whole thing? So let's take a look at contributing into the 2024 theme, and we can start by looking into the Figma of this, and it's 2020's built that enables, so, what's that Figma? Let me search for it. Figma. Okay, the theme is designed in Connect. Here it is. So the 2024 Figma. Let's take a look at the contribution. So this guideline is very straightforward, I think, and you can build onto this by reading the GitHub respective cheat sheet and guidelines, everything. But this should be, I think, standard, and this also reflects what you can do per Figma as well. And if you would like to contribute code, the list of open issues is a great place to start looking for tasks. So definitely here, the issues, I think 16 issues are present at the moment. I'm sure there must be PRs for some of them, but like you can still take a look, and you can also add your own if you find anything unusual in the theme. So there's that. Again, let's go back, and there's always PRs, and the PRs are, you can create PRs by forking this repository and then editing it in your own fork, and then creating a PR to the header of this again, if you haven't done this before, it will come to you once you try to do it. So just create a fork and then just imagine that this becomes your own repository once you create a fork, and then whatever you add changes on won't get directly added in the main 2024 theme repository, and though you can create a PR directly into 2024 repository via your own fork, since the code base being same. That's how forks work and contributing is. Anyways, let's go back to the 2024 and the Figma. So contributing is not just for developers. There are many opportunities to help with testing, triage, discussion, design, building patterns and templates. So I think this is also this was important. I think most of it is now irrelevant because it has been already built now, and there won't be any more patterns or templates, I think, going forward. And this was only for the part when it was being developed. So again, you can correct me on that if I'm wrong. So moving on, if you'd like to help with triage, let me know, Maggie Cabrera, know here or in WordPress Slack instance. You can so you can always join the WordPress make WordPress Slack, and then you can get more help from there if you are into contributing. The guidelines for setting up is very straightforward. I am using Valet to have my setup of WordPress instances. I also have a video on that on my channel, so do check that out. I'll get that listed in the video description. And contributions. So as you can see here, it states that as stated above, a goal for theme is to have as little CSS as possible. Much of the theme's visual treatments should handled by the block editor and global styles. As a general rule, if multiple themes would benefit from the CSS you're considering adding, it might be reasonably be provided by Gutenberg instead. Let's include clear code comments for any CSS include. Similarly, let's refrain from building any custom-built PHP or JavaScript-based workarounds for functionality that might reasonably be provided by the block editor. Let's keep the code simple to help with future maintenance. So so as I said earlier as well, the WordPress core themes tend to stay very bare bones and still be able to do whatever was intended in the design. So there's that. And anyone who has contributed will get a credit in the contributors.md file here. And as per mentioned, if you aren't included already, you can always create a PR yourself. So that's about it, I think, for the contributions. And you can take a look into what went into creating this theme, the design and everything, and what actually went into the theme, because there's a lot of additional templates and things here, such as this writing blogger thing, which didn't get into the theme, didn't make it into the theme, actual theme. But so definitely there goes a lot, and coming up with the actual theme is a collective approach. So we are the whole community, and ultimately the maintainers take a stance as well. So that you can always take a look into the theme files. The functions.php in 2024 is very bare bones. Let's take a look one by one. So the block styles, it registers a few block styles by hooking into so it is just hooking into the init function, and then in that it is calling the register block style, which registers your separate block styles per block. So this again is adding for details, post terms, and these are all inline styles. There's no separate CSS for it. So as you can see, this is basically CSS. It's just written in a way inside PHP. It's basically a string, right? I think it definitely also supports external CSS files, so you can do that. And so the second part is block style sheets. Okay, so this is now enqueuing a block style sheet, and this is an external file. This is So this is how I think you can do external style sheets. I mean, this has been changing a lot lately, because earlier when I had created a few block themes, I used to do the block style only, but now there's to block style as well, and there's a few more ways to do so. Again, you can take a look in my other video, and I'll be creating more as well. And there's the pattern categories. So this, again, I think pattern categories is an interesting one. If you were to take a look into the pattern and categories pages, block pattern categories. So I think this collection of first, so as you can see here, this wasn't a registered area of patterns or category. These are called categories, of course. And this is how you would add or register a pattern, separate pattern category. As you can see here, as I said, you can also register your own template part areas. So yeah, this is it for 2024 theme. And the code is very bare bones. I'll still say the fonts are loaded offline only, and I mean, they are included with the theme itself, not being loaded from an external API or something to make the theme as fast as possible. And the images are also here. And so in the patterns, so you would argue that why these patterns, like how these patterns help you in having static files versus having in the DB. I mean, this is how you would export your own theme into some other website, and you would keep them showing as is, instead of having something like you create in a website and then you export, and then suppose you have an image which is only stored in the WordPress site, not in the theme, then your block will look broken in the other site where you have exported and imported it into the theme. So that's where these patterns come into, like, because you can see here, we are basically changing the sources of the block markup. So this is being loaded via the theme images folder itself. As you can see here, get template directory URI is a theme function, theme template function. It just gives you the URI of your current theme, and it is dynamic wherever you import it into, along with the theme, the ghost images, and then that will be always shown regardless of that image being available on that WordPress site or not, because it is already included in the theme. So whenever you create a pattern and import it into separate it into a static file like these, you'd want to make sure that anything that needs to go into or look as is gets included within the theme and dynamically handled via code. So that is what helps in PHP, etc. all that. I'm sure there's a way to do that in the index.html files, but I'm not 100% sure, of course. Yeah, don't quote me on that. Still I'm yet to look into this. So I think the best way to approach these template files is by patterns. Again, you would have your patterns, and then you can add those patterns like this, and then those patterns can be dynamic and can be anything. So your header and everything, again, header can have patterns as well, because these are HTML, and I don't think you can have dynamic PHP functions there. So again, you'll be limited in those, but you can use patterns to have that functionality. Again, these are all technical decisions that have been taken into. So yeah, I'll be making more videos such as this. This was an early impression of 2024. Of course, it was for me, and could be something else for you. And let me know if there's something I can improve here, and basically for the upcoming videos. And help you guys going ahead. I'll be making more videos on how to create themes like so, basically. And hopefully we'll teach you guys something. I've been into this industry this many years now, and I have been making WordPress themes and plugins, and have contributed a lot, not directly to WordPress, but indirectly in ways. And yeah, so I plan to do more this year, and having this platform is a really wonderful thing for me. So thank you again for watching this video. I know this got a bit too long, but again, thank you for being here, and cheers. Have a very happy holidays. Thank you.